Yeah.
All right, go ahead and hit it. And then Command Tab us back to OBS. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Coach McCarthy
Like Bastin.
and
Colby Young.
Colby Young. Lake's going to do some of the driving for us today, so I'm in a new chair, so this will be interesting. But as always, we're going to talk about the NFL, review the games that happened this past week, and then a preview of next week's game. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
We got the Bengals and Baltimore Ravens.
Colby, you get a chance to check this game out any, or?
I did look at it a little bit. I saw when Joe Burrow went down.
Yeah, that was a big hit, and I think that's going to be a big impact on the Bengals and what happens with him being out, and see if they can bring him back in there.
Yeah, his hand did not look good after that hit.
No, and I think they might be in a little bit of trouble. Apparently, he was hurt beforehand, and I don't know if they didn't tell the NFL or didn't release that on the injury report. So we'll see. But Lamar Jackson had a heck of a game. I mean, he's really talented out there.
He can definitely move around pretty well, I think.
Yeah, he's got the ability to get all over the field. He can make some guys miss and do a lot of things out there. OBJ had a big game there for him with the 115 yards. He had a couple big plays and lots of targets. So those are always good things if you're rooting for the Ravens on that one. But the Bengals, I think, are going to struggle trying to get things back together.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for them going forward.
If I'm not mistaken, they signed McCarron yesterday or today. Either one of y'all know?
I didn't.
I think I saw that, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I think that's who they picked up. I think they were going to pick somebody up to try and take some of that slack off of them. So we'll see what happens. All right, the next game, Colby Cheese. This is all about you, huh? This is why you're up here. Go ahead and talk to us about your Brownies and how they looked in the game.
DTR didn't look terrible. His stats aren't the best, but I think moving forward, Kevin Stefanski is going to open the playbook up for him a little bit more because it was a lot of short passes.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely athletic. He can run.
Yeah.
We didn't see him pop up too much as far as running the game. He only had 3 carries, but he's definitely got some legs. He did some really good things down there at UCLA, can move around a little bit. Very, very similar to what Deshaun Watson can do. I don't know if he's quite at that level just quite yet, but he can definitely play. The Steelers with those two big backs, Warren and Najee Harris, they put up some good yards, but just couldn't get it going. Pickett just couldn't quite figure out that offense and couldn't get them going in the right direction.
The Bears and the Lions. Looks like Justin Fields didn't play terrible.
Fields was back coming off of his injury. Lots of carries there. We see 18 carries for 104 yards. Did get sacked twice, had the touchdown pass there to Mooney. They were in the game for a while there. There was a lot of turnovers by the Lions, as we see Jared Goff had those 3 interceptions. They were very costly early on, and they enabled the Bears to kind of get back in the game. And then the Lions were able to drive down there, and I believe they scored with on the last play of the game or towards the very end. So did some great things. And Amon St. Ra definitely a talented receiver. We've talked about him on this show a couple times. He's done some great things for the Lions this year, and I expect him to continue on that aspect and keep on playing well.
Yeah, a lot of targets that night.
And it looks like the Lions aren't scared to share it around a little bit.
Yeah, a bunch
of receivers.
A lot of people involved. We see Peoples-Jones showing up. I believe they just picked him up not too long ago in a trade. So I like the Lions. I like what they're able to do. I think they might be able to make a run in the playoffs. You fellers might see a Lions victory in the playoffs for the first time in your life.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys were alive the last time that happened. It's been a while. I might have been barely alive the last time that happened. All right, Lake, take us on to the next game there. Packers and the Chargers. Jordan Love had a good game, 322 yards, so he kind of found his own there. Not much going on in the running game. Expect a little bit more out of A.J. Dillon, 14 carries for 29 yards. Just wasn't able to get loose. You see a long of 6, so just didn't have any big runs. Weren't able to do too much as far as creating a scene for him. One of you fellas want to talk, so I'm not doing the only talking here.
Justin Herbert didn't play terrible.
Good game by him.
260. Keenan Allen, top receiver.
Keenan Allen definitely with 16 targets. So, I mean, you know who LA is going to try and get the ball to. Parham's the big tight end. He's a big kid too. But definitely them getting Keenan Allen involved, and that's who they're going to go to with the ball. 116 yards, 16 targets, and 10 receptions. So that's a big dude. Just throw it up to him and let him go up there and make some plays for you.
I think Justin Herbert having 73 rushing yards leading his team is big too. Nobody else. Austin Eckler had 64, but you expect to see a little more out of him.
Yeah, you don't really expect to look at the Chargers stat line and see Justin Herbert as the leading rusher.
Yeah.
Nothing against Herbert. He's a good dude and all, but Eckler's a little bit better probably running the rock.
Yeah. The Raiders and the Dolphins. It's like Tua had a pretty good game with 325 yards.
Yeah, Tua had a good game. I think those 3 picks from O'Connell, I think that really hurt him.
Yeah.
They don't really have the firepower in the offense they've had in the past. So when you're turning the ball over 3 times, it's going to make it really hard to win the game. It looks like the defense played well, holding the Dolphins to only 20. They've been very explosive this season and put up a lot of yards and a lot of points. So I think the defense was there. Just you got to get some more out of the offense. Josh Jacobs has slowed down, 14 carries for 39 yards.
Looks like Miami moved the ball around pretty well, too.
Yeah, they do a good job of distributing. As you can see, Tyreek Hill had those Big Ten catches, 146 yards. I believe he got hurt. You fellas see that?
I did, and I think he said that he should be all right coming up into this next week.
He said he was worried about his Fortnite future and playing Madden, so it must have been a wrist or hand injury.
Yeah.
That's not good when those things happen. But you look at Hill and Waddle leading the way with 19 targets between them and 14 receptions. So definitely who Tua is trying to get the ball to. And we see Achane getting back on the field, only 1 carry and 1 reception, but good to see him back on the field. He had some great runs early on in the year.
Looks like Los Angeles also moved the ball around pretty well. They all had around the same amount of catches.
Yep, it's a good distribution there on the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, and the games I've seen with the Raiders, it looks like they're Aiden O'Connell's main target is Devontae Adams. No matter what, he's looking to get the ball to him and let him make some plays.
Most definitely. I think I'd like to see Michael Meyer get involved in the game a little bit more. That's the big tight end, local product from us up in Northern Kentucky, and had a great season at Notre Dame. Haven't seen him get the type of targets that you expect to see some of those bigger tight ends getting. So maybe they'll get him involved in the game a little bit more as the season goes on. The Giants and the Redskins. I was very surprised. DeVito had a good game with 3 touchdowns. So as a rookie, it's always great to get involved and get that first win. It looks like Saquon was a big part of that aspect of it with the receiving touchdowns and also a lot of carries from scrimmage.
Yeah, Sam Howell throwing those 3 interceptions did not help their case at all.
No, not with only 19 points and 3 picks. Just not a good day for him. Good day for Brian Robinson coming out of the backfield. What do you think about that, Colby?
He had a very good game compared to his other teammates. He got the ball and he wasn't scared to take it, and even receiving wise, he had 58 yards.
Yeah, so they were able to get him involved in both sides. 17 carries coming out of the backfield, and then another 9 targets coming out of the backfield. So I think he's kind of that go-to guy that Sam Howell might be looking for a little bit there. You see Logan Thomas, a former quarterback at Va Tech, now turned tight end. He's having a really good career. Chris Rodriguez, the local product, played down at University of Kentucky. We see him getting some carries and getting involved in the pass game a little bit as well. But the Giants, just too much. Saquon Barkley, he's a beast, man. Get him the ball and get out of the way and let him do his thing. So that was good that able to see him get back on the field and get back going in the right direction. And then our local product from down the way in Frankfort there, Wan'Dale Robinson, got on the field. Only got the 1 carry and a couple catches, but nice to see him getting some touches and getting involved in the game plan for the Giants.
For sure.
The Cowboys and the Panthers. I tell you what, the Panthers they ran into the wrecking ball that's been the Cowboys these last couple weeks.
Yep.
You look at Dak Prescott, another 2 touchdowns this time?
Yeah.
So he's been getting after it a couple games here, putting the ball up. Cooks and CeeDee Lamb going to make some plays for him.
He's looking pretty confident.
Yeah, he is. He's really into his mold and doing some good things. Thielen with 11 targets showing back up. He had a great career with the Vikings, trying to get back on track down there with Carolina.
Yeah, and Bryce Young, he's not playing terrible throughout this season. The Panthers just aren't the best team, and it shows when they play a good team like the Cowboys.
I'll tell you what, the one stat line that hangs out there on the Carolina side, you look at they only got 10 points, and they gave up 7 sacks. It's really going to be hard to put a lot of points on the board when you're giving up 7 sacks. Part of that's having a young quarterback and a guy that might not be used to seeing some of those things they're going to put out there to him. But that's a lot of sack yardage to take, and a lot of just, those will kill drives and end you real quick. So from his standpoint, maybe the better O-line player getting a little bit better with getting the ball out of his hands. Not sure which one it's going to be.
Yep. Yeah, that'll hurt you. The
Jaguars and the Titans. I tell you what, fellas, if you had Derrick Henry for less than 40 yards rushing, you're better than me because I thought he's been slow the last couple weeks. Hadn't been putting out the yardage like we've seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been struggling. I know a couple weeks ago, and he had an all-time low. I think maybe less than 10 yards and a half.
Huh. I wonder if people are just, and my bet is they're just loading the box. You know, Levis, they're going to try and make Levis beat you throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And as a rookie, he's just not going to be quite there yet. He was able to find DeAndre Hopkins for the touchdown there. But it's just a little bit too much pressure from the Jaguars and what they were able to do up front. Only got 2 sacks, but still able to load the box and slow Derrick Henry down. Etienne's having a great season again. And Calvin Ridley showing back up there, 7 receptions for 103?
Yep.
And 2 touchdowns. That might be his breakout game for the Jaguars. What do y'all fellas think about him?
I think so. He's a good player, and he's finally coming to his own and getting back to where he was, and I think he should be good.
He had a great couple years there with the Falcons and had that issue and had to sit out for a little bit. But he's back on the field. It looks like he got a carry coming out of the backfield too. So they're definitely trying to get him involved, get him the ball in a couple different ways there.
Yeah, I think DeAndre Hopkins is definitely they're targeting him a lot too.
I think that might be the key for the Titans is able to get DeAndre Hopkins involved. Don't know too much about any of the other receivers, but you look at Hopkins with 5 targets. You know, if he gets hot and gets going, I think that's definitely going to carry Levis and probably going to carry the team for that matter too. He's the type of guy you get him in space, he can make a dude miss, and you ain't catching him.
And it looks like they'll shut him down pretty well.
I think DeAndre for the Titans is just like Devontae Adams for the Raiders.
Yeah, you know who's going to get the ball.
Yeah. Yep.
They ain't going to rush. Now, the one stat line that sinks or stands out to me down there at the bottom, Jeffrey Simmons, defensive lineman, 1 catch and 1 touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
So they got him involved in the game. I didn't get a chance to see that play, but it's always nice when you see them big fellas get out there and make a catch.
Arizona and Texas.
C.J. Stroud, huh? He's putting together a great couple game stretch here.
Has.
Another 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. We talked about this in the earlier show. Apparently he got hurt and came out, and they ended up putting Mills in there. So
Yeah, I saw that.
you know, if he's out, that's a big impact on what the Texans are able to do and how well they've been playing.
Yeah, because he's really turned them up, I feel like.
Yes, he has. He's turned the corner. He's making some good throws. He's getting used to the game. And then we look at Houston with their top target now. The rookie Tank Dell was able to come back. You see him in the backfield, taking some snaps. He's out there at receiver. So he's been involved in their offense a lot, and he's definitely a talented player.
From what I saw with the Texans, C.J. Stroud, I went through. He missed 1 play. He went to the tent and then he came right back out. So
Okay.
I don't think he'll
so
be fine.
nothing major. Might
Yeah.
just be something minor going on there.
Yeah, because
So-
he ended up finishing the game, finishing it out.
Okay. And then we got Kyler Murray with his I believe his 2nd start of the season. So it looks like he's starting to get back into the swing of things. He's definitely a talented individual. He can do a lot of
He
things.
can do a lot of things. He's very shifty, like how Lamar is.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Looks like they didn't really share the wealth on who they toss the ball to.
No, Houston's pretty much set with Singletary in the backfield. That's who's going to get the rock, and he's been toting it pretty well for the last couple games. If you're in the fantasy world, he'd definitely be somebody to take a look at. With 22 carries and also getting involved in the backfield with receptions.
I was surprised Marquise Brown only had 18 receiving yards. I
Yeah.
figured he would have more.
You know what? I thought they would target him a little bit more. No offense to Greg Dortch and Trey McBride. I'm sure they're both great dudes. But a guy like Marquise Brown, I would think that's who you're trying to get the ball to maybe a little bit more. He's definitely got the speed to take the top off and can make some folks miss. So, you know, maybe getting him involved a little bit more might be better for that offense moving forward. And Purdy had a pretty damn good day.
He did.
I believe he had a perfect QB rating, 3 touchdowns. They got McCaffrey back involved in the game. So I think they're just going to be a machine when they get rolling. They might make it all the way. Yeah. You see Ayuk showing up with 5 receptions for 156 yards. He had the big long one with 76. Kittle able to get back on the board with a touchdown. They just got a lot of firepower over there.
Yep, they were scary, and they're even more scary with Chase Young being added, and he's having a good year.
I think that defense is going to be something to reckon with, especially with Young and Bosa, like you said, coming off the edge. Those guys can go get it and put some pressure on a quarterback.
And with a tight end like George Kittle. George Kittle's been dominating too.
Yep. And you look at Tampa Bay there, we kind of talked about this earlier with Devontae Adams getting all those receptions. You look at a guy, Mike Evans, he's got 12 targets. I mean, they're definitely trying to force the ball to him, able to bring down 5 of them. So, defenses are going to be kind of perplexed trying to figure out, we're going to double team him, and you're going to leave Godwin open, and he definitely has the wheels to be able to run.
Yep.
And then Rachaad White coming out of the backfield had 7 targets and 6 receptions. So they were involving him pretty well in the offense as well.
Looks like Mike Evans had a pretty good game today.
Yep. Evans is already there. Evans is always going to be around, so
Yeah.
he's always going to be that target for Tampa Bay and who they're looking to try and get the ball to.
I think after he got injured, he slowed down a lot, though.
Yep.
Rachaad White out of the backfield though only had 30 yards with 9 carries. Looking to see a little bit more out of that for them to be more successful.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit more out of that run game to keep them going, especially moving forward in the playoffs.
Baker Mayfield really hasn't shown much.
No, he's doing okay. He'll keep you in some games. He's going to win some here and there. I think his Pro Bowl type careers might be a little bit behind him, but he's still a talented quarterback, and I'm sure the Bengals would take him right now. No offense to A.J. McCarron, but
Yep.
the situation they're dealing with, they might take Lake Bastin, and he can't throw the ball 10 yards.
That's debatable.
But the 10 yards part,
Yeah.
it probably is. All right, the Buffalo Bills shellacking of the Jets.
Jets, this ain't their year.
No, their offense is just horrendously not moving in the right direction. And Coach Brady, looked very good with the Bills and calling plays. They were able to get Cook involved. You see 17 carries for 73 yards. I mean, he was all over the place. They got him involved in the pass game. And then Allen had a couple big hits, the big touchdown to Shakir for 81. So they were able to just disperse the ball around. I don't know if this was ever really much of a game. Did you guys see where Zach Wilson fell coming out to first play? He's jogging out. I think it was the first series, but Zach Wilson's all jogging out there and falls down in the middle. Like if you're the Jets, it's that meme where you smack your head like I believe it, but gee, Manelli's.
Yeah, I think the Bills are a pretty solid team all around anyway, and that doesn't help either.
No. You play that stout offense and defense, you're gonna have something. And Breece Hall just couldn't get going. They're loading the box against him. They know what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
A low-scoring affair out west on the West Coast. A couple years ago, this might have been a high-scoring affair, but just the Rams don't quite look the same. I am very pleased with Puka Nacua. He's done very, very well.
Been really good.
And I think we've talked about this before. I think Puka might be the third horse for the Rookie of the Year. C.J. Stroud, Puka Nacua, and then Bijan down there in Atlanta. Those might be my top 3. Colby, you got any other rookies that have really stood out to you this year?
No, I'd say that's probably the same 3 that I'm thinking about. They've been good.
And Nacua started off on fire. I think teams are starting to kind of ID him a little bit more, and he's kind of slowing down a little bit. You still see 7 targets, so they're trying to get the ball to him. So it'll be interesting how it kind of plays out towards the end if Stroud can stay hot. Bijan had the week off, but Puka's definitely going to be in the mix as far as receptions, and hopefully he can do some good things for LA for a long time.
Yep. And the Seahawks weren't terrible. DK Metcalf had 94 yards.
Yep.
The rushing game wasn't the best. 47 yards for Zach, and that was about it.
Yeah, Walker had the big game last week in the run coming out of the backfield. They decided to go with Charbonnet, kid out of UCLA. He's a big athletic kid. Just doesn't look like he could get going. I mean, your longest is only 11 off 15 carries. So I'd assume the Rams were probably loading up the box and trying to force Geno to beat him, and doesn't really look like it was his day as far as passing.
But when he is passing, it's usually going to Metcalf.
Metcalf or Lockett. It looks like he actually distributed the ball to a lot of different people. We see some tight ends and some receivers out there.
Yeah, he wasn't scared to share it this game. You can tell.
No, and hopefully we can hopefully the Rams can get Cooper Kupp back and going. We only see 1 target there and 1 reception. I think he's a big impact on that offense and how well
he's hot.
Yeah, when he's going, I think they're going to be able to do some things. The other cat that can really do some things, you see the name down there, Tutu Atwell, kid out of Louisville. He's got some speed and can run like the wind. So maybe they'll find some ways to try and get him involved, some reverses or some other things to get him the ball in space. But he definitely outrun anybody out there.
Yeah, I think their 3 receivers can get hot, they're going to be a scary matchup.
Yeah, and Stafford can distribute the ball with the best of them. So as long as I know he had some issues early on with his health. So if he's healthy and ready to roll, they'll definitely be a team to contend with moving down the playoffs picture.
like pretty low scoring game.
The Sunday night game, this was a low-scoring game. Good defense from the Broncos.
Yeah.
Going out there and playing well. Their defense has really carried them through the last couple games. For the Vikings, Dobbs was there. Kept them in the game, 21-20. If I'm not mistaken, Denver scored towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Yep,
One of the
to
last
win
drives. Yeah, got the touchdown to win it. And Sutton and Russell Wilson have really found a little bit of magic there, working together.
Yeah, I saw that.
Made some nice plays along the way.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy, he's getting some good reps in, 58 yards and 5 receptions.
Yep, those are good numbers. You see the 7 targets for him. And surprise kind of there, Samaje Perine coming out of the backfield, 7 targets and 7 receptions, the former Bengal, coming out of the backfield and doing some good things for the Broncos.
Yeah, he used to be pretty solid whenever he played for the Bengals,
Yep.
too.
Josh Dobbs having another great game. I think it's 3 or 4 in a row for him on the Vikings.
Yeah, he's played really well in his time coming in. You see T.J. Hawkinson, the big tight end, as the main go-to target. I think for Minnesota, them losing the quarterback and then the receiver, they just the cabinet's getting a little bare up there in Minnesota, but they keep fighting. I mean,
They're
they're
finding
not.
ways to hold on. And
Yeah, they're finding ways to hold on. They've pulled out a victory the last couple of days with Dobbs, the last couple of games. So we'll see what happens, and we can talk about our preview of the coming weeks here soon.
Yeah, I think with Josh Dobbs just being such a smart kid, that helps a lot because
he was able to read it
Yeah.
well.
He definitely understands it all. Like we said, if your part-time job is NASA, you must be doing something right.
yeah.
All right. What else we got? The Monday night game. You fellas watch the game last night?
I did.
I watched a little bit of
You
it.
make it all the way through, Colb, or?
I ended up falling asleep about midway through the 4th.
Yeah, I made it through about the first quarter and a little bit through the second. That weather looked nasty.
Yeah, it did not look good, and you could tell it was only 21-17 with these two teams. Good weather, you figured it'd be a shootout.
Yeah, I think people were expecting like 42-35 or something like that. A couple things kind of stand out to me. Jalen Hurts taking 5 sacks, so the Chiefs' defense was able to get after him. And then also Hurts having 12 carries. A lot of that might be from the QB push and the brotherly push, but at the same time, normally you're not going to see that many runs. So I'm wondering if they were creating some pressure and getting them on the runs. That was going on, Colb?
Yeah, and both teams, both quarterbacks, Hurts and Mahomes, only had in the 150 and 177 receiving passing yards, and those two quarterbacks usually see 200 to 300. And that weather, they both ended up running a lot.
Yep.
I think it was a lot to do with that.
I think the weather had a big part about it. You see the 8 targets there for Devontae Smith, and then for the Chiefs, Justin Watson really showing up with 11 targets. It surprised me that he's outpacing Travis Kelce as far as targets and who they're trying to get the ball to.
Yeah, I think I saw Andy Reid said that he wasn't very happy with Kelsey's performance.
Yeah, I think they had some exchange of words on the sideline. I saw an article about that. Didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah, I feel like Kelsey, whenever he got hurt, he kind of slowed down like Mike Evans.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes.
I expect A.J. Brown and Julio to do a lot more also for the Eagles.
We talked about that in the early show that we had earlier. I definitely do too. You're looking for more than one reception out of A.J. Brown.
Yep.
I know the Chiefs do a great job on defense, and they really stymied him, but still only 4 targets. Just probably not the game A.J. Brown was thinking he was going to have. All right, so now, folks, we look at our preview of games coming up this weekend. We got 3 on Wednesday, 1 on Friday, and then a full slate on Sunday. And I forgot to put the date on the Monday night game there, so sorry about that. But in the Wednesday night game, Colbs, what are you thinking there? The Packers or the Lions?
I'm gonna go for the upset. I think I'm gonna go for the Packers.
You think they're going to pull it out, huh?
I think Jordan Love's gonna have him a good game.
All right. Eat some turkey and watch
Yep.
the Packers and the Lions. You fellas watch all 3 games on Turkey Day? Have them on the TV?
Yeah, usually.
More or less? All right. What are you thinking, Lake?
I think the Lions, I feel like they're pretty high right now and
The Lions
coming in
have,
with a lot of confidence.
have been playing very well. I think they might be the odds-on favorite for that one. And Green Bay's going to give them a show, but that Lion team's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if the Lions do win, but I'll take the under for this one.
All right. Talk to us about the next game there, Lake.
We got Washington versus the Cowboys.
I don't even think that's going to be a game.
No, unfortunately, I don't think Washington's going to be able to show up. Back in the day, this was a big-time heated rivalry, but
Not in today's world.
no, unfortunately for the Commanders, I don't think it's their year either. They're going to be a little slow. The Cowboys are on fire the last couple games. I think we're all on for the Cowboys on this one. What do you think about the Niners and the Seahawks? That might be it could be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Still, I think the 49ers just going to take it away at the end of the game with their defense and receiving core. I just don't think the Seahawks can stay with them.
Think it'll be close, Colby, or are you guys thinking blowout? What are we thinking here, fellas?
It's either going to go like completely destroyed or it's going to be close.
It's either going to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Might even be both for a little bit. Who knows? Speaking of a game that's not even going to be close, unfortunately, that Friday afternoon game, I think Miami's going to be doing a little 7-on-7 skelly, and the Jets are just going to try and get out of there healthy.
Yeah, I'm expecting 30-40 by the Dolphins.
Yeah,
just running it up on them.
I don't know if the Jets are going to be able to hang around too long in that game.
The Jets' defense isn't versus Miami's offense. It's just going to be pretty rough.
Well, I mean, the Jets have a really good defense, but, man, they don't have any offense. It just hasn't worked out for them. So I know the Boyle kid's going to be starting for them. They got Zach Wilson benched again. So second time in his career. I don't know if the Jets are going to want to stick with him or if they're going to try and figure out what's going to be the best for him. Everyone's aware of the whole situation with Aaron Rodgers, so we'll see how that pans out and what happens. But
yeah, I think that hurt them a lot.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did.
I think they're just trying to wait until mid-December is when they expect Aaron Rodgers to come back. So they're just waiting on that.
If they're still in the mix, I mean, he might be able to push them on through. We'll see when he comes back and how that goes. Honestly, I don't really know a lot about the Saints. I haven't kept up with them too much this year. I know they've had Derek Carr and famous Jameis in there. We talked about Bijan Robinson a little bit for the Falcons. He's having a great year.
Yeah, he is.
If I'm not mistaken, Desmond Ridder is going to get the start under center again for the Falcons. So he's definitely athletic and can do a lot of things, but has had some turnover issues and been prone to some turnovers along the way. So we'll kind of see which way that one goes. I might have to take the Falcons in that one.
I think Bijan's going to push them through it on that one. I think he's going to get a couple touchdowns, and they're going to end up winning that game.
Going to lean on him a little bit and let him take control of the game.
Yep.
I think that's probably a good game plan if you're rooting for the Falcons on that one.
And then the Bengals and the Steelers.
As much as I hate to say it, I got to pull for. I'm pulling for Cincinnati, but I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah,
I know the Steelers did just lose their offensive coordinator, so that may be a little different for them. But I don't know if the Bengals will be able to do anything with
the way
Pickett's new quarterback.
The way Pickett's been playing, this could be like a 10-7 or
very low scoring,
14-7 type game. I'm not expecting a big offensive performance from this one. This is definitely probably an under.
Yep.
If you're looking at it from that aspect.
The Steelers have just been playing pretty well, though, too.
And their defense is always
they have a good D.
Their defense has been there. I know they picked up Miles Jack, who'd been there last year and kind of retired, and now he's coming back. So, the battle of rookie quarterbacks, Carolina Panthers and the Tennessee Titans. What do you think? If Derrick Henry's hot, I'm all over Tennessee.
Oh, for sure,
yeah.
If Henry's hot and going, I don't think you're going to slow him down. But the teams have been able to figure it out. They're loading the box against Henry and making Levis beat him. It just hasn't had that go his way just quite yet.
Yeah, I just think Will Levis needs to trust himself, and if they send that many, he just has to be prepared to take it out, throw it quick, and
throw it to
get
Hopkins.
some yards.
See if Hopkins can't do something. On the other side, Bryce Young taking a couple sacks. I think he's definitely got the talent to do some things. Carolina's just got to figure out their roster and get everything kind of gelled and going in the right direction.
Keep building.
Yep.
I feel like this next game, Buccaneers versus the Colts, it will be probably pretty low scoring.
This one could be a low-scoring game too. A little Minshew magic. If you got Anthony Richardson in there for the Colts, I'd probably be all over that bandwagon. But with Minshew magic, I don't know if he's going to have what it's going to take to get past the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, his games are a little questionable. He has been playing decent in the past few weeks, but I think I'm going to give it the Colts this one.
Going to go with the Colts and little Minshew magic?
Yep.
All right. What are you thinking there, Lake?
I got the Buccaneers.
The Bucks? All right. The next game, there's some bad games this week, folks. Nothing against the NFL. There's just the Patriots and the Giants. This could be a 6-3 game just the same. 10-7, just low scoring. Mac Jones has been struggling a whole lot for the Patriots. The Giants using DeVito as their quarterback. So not really the star power that we're used to seeing from these two franchises.
Yeah, that's a coin flip for which team comes out of that on top. If any team, maybe it's a tie.
It's a tie. It could be. It could be a tie.
This next game could be a pretty good game.
The Jaguars-Texans, that might be the 35-42 type game, especially if Stroud is back and healthy. I think that can go – that can get up in the upper echelon of points and could be a very high score and a good game to watch. We'll see if he's back and how Trevor Lawrence is doing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Texans as well in this game. If C.J. Stroud is healthy.
And I'm with you. If Stroud's back, I think he's got the hot hand for the Texans. If they don't have Stroud, I think that Jaguar team might just be a little bit too much for them to deal with. The Colby special. Colby, you want to talk to us about your Brownies and the Broncos there?
I think the Browns are going to take this. A little biased, but we have a good run game, and the Broncos have good defense, but their run defense isn't the greatest.
They do. They have a very good defense. They're missing a defender. Going to be suspended for 4 games for targeting, I believe.
I think Stefanski needs to open up the playbook a little more this week for DTR. He's getting a little more used to it. Time to throw it a little more deep. And I think it'll be a good game for the Browns.
Be curious to see if they get his legs involved in the game. He was a great runner at UCLA and can do a lot of things from that aspect. So we'll see how that goes. Just as the Bengals fan, I don't know if I can root for the Brownies. They're still kind of close to first place. They're ahead of the Bengals. I don't know if it's going to matter for the Bengals much anymore as far as the playoff picture goes. So we managed to take the Browns just to try and stay with the Ohio team on that one.
But the way Broncos have been playing, they've been pretty hot. So.
They have. They've been playing hot, and that defense is really, really well. And Russell Wilson will keep you in a game and win it there at the end. So
I think that could be a shootout too.
Can't ask for much more. In years past, the next game, the Rams and the Cardinals might have been a high-scoring affair, but as of late, just not really looking good for the Rams. Kyler Murray's coming with his 3rd game now this season, so hopefully it starts to click for him a little bit.
I think it will be a pretty competitive game. Just probably not the most high-scoring because they're both pretty solid teams.
I'm expecting the Cardinals to get pretty hot this game, or Kyler Murray to get hot this game and go off maybe.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. 3rd game back, it's going to start to slow down a little bit. You're going to start to see things a little bit better. So maybe I think that'll be the right game for him.
The Chiefs versus the Raiders. This could be I don't see it being a shootout, but
this could be a one-sided match. I think the Chiefs might have too much offense for the Raiders to be able to slow down. And with the Raiders relying on one person, I think that defense coordinator in Kansas City is going to figure out a way to at least slow Devontae Adams down. I don't think you can stop him, but they can slow him down pretty good.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs on this one. I think Travis Kelce is going to come back and have a better game than he had last week, and they're going to just find a way to stop Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams.
Yep, I think you load the box, slow down Jacobs, and double-team Devontae Adams, and say if you can beat me otherwise, so be it. But you're not going to do it with those two. So we'll see if that's the game plan for the Chiefs or not.
This next game, I think, could be a pretty good game.
I think this might be one of the better games on the weekend slate with the Bills and the Eagles.
Yeah.
Philly's been playing really well coming off that victory they had over Kansas City, and Buffalo's coming in hot after changing offensive coordinators. They figured some things out with the offense. I think I picked Buffalo in the early telecast, but I might have to take that Philadelphia defense, and they're playing at Philadelphia. I don't know if the Bills are going to be able to get enough points to run with the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles are scary. They only have 1 loss still. But I'm going to go with the Bills. I think they're going to end up showing up. Josh Allen's going to have a really good game.
Bills Mafia in the house, huh?
Yep. Yeah, I agree with Colby.
All right, we'll see what they can do.
An upset.
Yeah. All right. The Sunday night matchup, the Ravens and the Chargers.
I'd like to see the Chargers win, just to help the Browns out in the division. But I think the Ravens are just too much.
I'll tell you what, the Chargers got some firepower and could put some points on the board.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen gets going. Eckler, they got some other cats that can play, and the quarterback's definitely going to keep in some games. So we'll see.
I think if Odell has another good game, that could lead to their win.
Definitely. I think if they can get OBJ involved and get him healthy, get him involved in some early touches. Zay Flowers is also very athletic and talented for the Ravens. So
keeping them high is pretty key too, because if any of them get slowed down, then it's not the best for the Ravens.
No, going to be a bad scenario. And then the Monday night game, Justin Fields and the Bears taking on Joshua Dobbs and the Vikings. Bears been a little slow this season. Fields is definitely athletic. He can go out there and do some things. So hopefully he's going to be healthy enough to play and contribute. If he is, it definitely changes who the Bears are with him in the backfield, because he can run, he can throw. As we saw, he led the team with rushes. I believe he was over 100 yards this week. So we'll see how they can do going up to play in Minnesota in the Dome. I might take the Bears in the upset on this one just to see what can happen.
Yeah, I think if Justin Fields is healthy and is having a good game, it could go either way, maybe come down to the wire. But if anything happens with him, I'm going to give it to the Vikings.
This could be a field goal, last possession type game.
Yep. There's been a lot of those.
I'd like to see Dobbs win here. Just keep his streak going.
Keep his streak going. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us on this episode of NFL Preview and Review. I am Coach McCarthy.
Lake Bastin.
Lake Bastin with us again, and
Colby Young.
Colby Young was with us for our broadcast today. Make sure you check us out next week. We'll probably be on either Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll have these same characters and maybe see if we can't get someone else on the show with us. Kind of talk about the games from the week past and see how we do with our picks and look at the week coming up. Yep. So,